is Mark Cantrell. I'm 105 years old, and I'm speaking to you today to pay respects to my recently departed friend, Donald Stanley Vaughan. I wish I could be there in person with the rest of you today, but my doctors told me I have a terminal case of hemorrhoids, and I'm putting the time I have left to good use watching holographic porn. Don was a good friend of mine for the better part of a century, and I always thought that I was going to be the first one to go. And then later on, a few years ago, they discovered that beer and chocolate were the secret to long life. Things started making a little bit more sense. I always told Don he should have drank more, but no. Some people used to say that Don and I were separated at birth, and if that's the case, I'm glad I'm the one that got the looks. One of my best memories now was when Don took me to the Playboy Mansion. That was from a bachelor party way back in 1999. We were in California, and Donnie finally got to meet his idol, Hugh Hefner. It was a big thrill. I got a picture somewhere of him shaking Hefner's hand. The picture I didn't get was the one where he leaned over the counter to try to give Hef some tongue action. I was so surprised I dropped the damn camera. I did not see that one coming. That's the kind of thing, though, that used to make people think that Don and I were gay. Ha! Let me tell you, even if I was gay, I still like a nice round butt. And that boy's got no butt, no ass whatsoever. It's very sad. Of course, Don did eventually turn gay, and that kind of made everybody surprised because, well, he really hadn't shown any of them proclivities up until then. It's probably my fault because I loaned him that copy of Brokeback Mountain, and the next thing you know, he's cruising the bars, he's tapping his toes in men's rooms. I just didn't see that one coming. But I'll tell you, the leather pants did make his ass look a little bit better. The whole deal was pretty surprising because Donald always liked big busts, you know. But then he was in a big bust, and I think that kind of turned him around. Remember back when President Huckabee got elected and he started putting all these moral squads out there, and well, they took one look at Don's office, and that was all she wrote. They hauled the boy off in handcuffs, and I got to say, pretty much everybody saw that one coming. But anyway, it's a good thing they gave him conjugal visits because Nan would have otherwise just gone like plumb stark raving mad. The thing I remember the most about the Vaughans back then was that house of theirs. I mean, it was like one thing was giving him trouble and then another, and if it wasn't leaky pipes, the basement was filling up with water, the deck was falling apart, and a tree was falling on his utility building. It was crazy. And then they finally got a psychic in there, and they found out that the house was built on an ancient Indian burial ground. And when I say Indians, I'm talking people from India. So they finally figured out why the house always smelled like saffron. I still don't know what's wrong with it, though, but Don was the one that got me into writing now 55 years ago, more than that. And because of him, I've been able to experience some things that I never would have experienced before, like poverty. But, you know, he had some bad luck there for a while. There was a string where he'd be working on an article for a magazine, and he'd turn it in, and the magazine go out of business. I think he killed off 3 or 4 perfectly good magazines that way. But I guess it was about 10 years ago, his luck finally turned around. Sold an article to Playboy magazine. I'm really going to miss it. Early in his writing career, Don worked at the tabloids. I think you all know that. He wrote stories like Bigfoot Ate My Baby. And this really is going to probably come as a shock to many of you. But all that stuff, pack of lies. Complete lies. They found that out when they captured Bigfoot, and he actually was able to prove where he was when that baby got ate. So that wasn't Don's finest hour, I gotta say. But he did a lot better as a freelance writer, at least for a while. You remember, though, in 2012, that 17-year-old blogger became the chief editor of the New York Times, and I think at that point the writing was just on the wall. Don decided he was going to have to get into another line of work. His big thing had always been to write the great American novel, and I remember when he finished it in 2014, You might remember the title. It was called A Million Little Feces. And next thing you know, he's on Oprah Winfrey's Netcast. And everybody's making a big deal of him. And then it turns out the whole damn thing is plagiarized. Well, he had to go back on Oprah's show and apologize. You probably remember that because she kicked him right in the nuts. Didn't see that one coming. Anyhow, I try to remember the good times, like when our bus caught on fire, when we were in wine country in California, or there was a time when I passed out on his patio, and I'm sure there were some good times. There must have been good times. But anyway, to say as it came as a surprise to hear that he'd driven off that cliff in the white van, I mean, that just blew my mind. I don't know how the van kept running all those years. I know Don wanted a hover car like the rest of us, but he was too stingy to buy one as long as the damn van kept running. But that wasn't the weirdest part. The weirdest part was that boy never aged. He never aged at all. I mean, he looked the same the day he went over that cliff as he did 50 years ago at his birthday party. And that's just weird. He always said he wanted to be immortal, but I guess as far as he got was immoral. That's not right. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I guess I better wrap things up now. It's almost time for my suppository, but I just wanted to say that Don was the best friend I ever had, and I'm really going to miss him. What? He drove the van off the cliff and faked his death. The insurance money? Well, so that bastard's still alive. Well, that explains this picture I found in his attic. Didn't see that one coming. Welcome back.